Night settles like a whispered prayer. The room dims to the soft hum of silence, and somewhere beneath the covers, a small body shifts fur, brushing fabric, the faintest exhale. A sound almost too quiet to name. You feel it before you hear it, that rhythmic vibration, deep and ancient, pulsing against your ribs like a second heartbeat. Your cat has found her place beside you again the way she always does, not for comfort alone, but for something older, something sacred. There was a man in Minnesota who used to lie awake through the long northern winters. His wife had passed the year before, and though his body begged for rest, his heart refused. The bed felt too wide, the air too cold. One January night, as snow pressed against the windows, his old tabby, a gentle aging creature with frost-colored whiskers, climbed onto his chest. She lay down without ceremony, just a quiet settling of weight. Then came the sound. A soft, steady purr, like the earth breathing through her. At first, he thought it was coincidence that his own breath began to follow hers. Inhale when she did. Exhale when she did. After a while, the tightness in his chest loosened. His mind stopped circling the same ache. That night, he slept. Not deeply at first, but peacefully, as if some small guardian had kept vigil for him through the dark. There's more happening in that moment than comfort. Science tells us that a cat's purr vibrates between 25 and 150 hertz frequencies, known to ease pain, calm the nervous system, even help bones knit faster. But numbers can't hold the meaning. In the quiet of the night, that vibration becomes something else, a bridge between worlds where biology and spirit blur. When a cat purrs beside you, she is not only soothing your muscles, she's speaking to your soul in the oldest language of peace. For cats, sleep is never complete surrender. In the wild, they rest with one ear awake, one eye half open, their body coiled in patient readiness. Yet when she sleeps next to you, when she curls into your chest and lets that low hum fill the air, she is doing something she rarely does, trusting. Her small body yields to your presence as if your warmth forms a circle that even instinct cannot break. It's her way of saying, "You are safe. And so am I." Maybe that's why so many people describe their cats as healers without knowing why. A woman once told me about the night after her father died. Her young cat, usually aloof, climbed onto her pillow and pressed her nose against her tear-wet cheek. Every time she sobbed, the cat purred louder, not in pity but in resonance, as if to say, "Keep breathing. Stay here." That night, the woman dreamt of a river wide and silver, and her father standing on the other side, smiling. When she woke, the cat was still there, eyes half closed, guarding the border between grief and dawn. Perhaps that's what cats really are, translators of stillness. They show us how to pause in a world that never stops moving. Their purring isn't a song of need, but of being a vibration that anchors both creature and human to the same pulse of creation. Some people call it God's hum, others call it life force, but every name points to the same truth. Peace is not silence, it's rhythm. If you listen closely, you might notice how your breath begins to soften when your cat lies near. You may find your thoughts slow, as if matching her calm. This is no accident. It's your nervous system entering harmony, a sacred synchronization that healers and mystics have recognized for centuries. The ancient Egyptians believed cats were messengers of Bastet, the goddess, who guarded the home from unseen forces. Perhaps what they truly sensed was this, that when a cat rests against you, the chaos outside the door no longer feels quite so loud. Tonight, when you lie down, try a simple ritual. Turn off the light. Place a hand over your heart or gently on your cat's back if she's near. Inhale as she inhales. Exhale when she exhales. Whisper softly so only the night hears, "You're safe. I'm safe." Feel the weight of that sentence settle into the space between you. In that stillness, you'll notice something almost miraculous, the boundary between two lives dissolving into one shared rhythm like waves merging under the moon. You don't need to understand every reason she chooses that moment to come close. Some things are not meant to be dissected, only received. Your cat's presence at night is not a small domestic gesture. It's a silent ministry, a moment of divine alignment disguised as fur and warmth. When her body hums beside you, she's doing what creatures of light have always done, reminding us that love in its purest form doesn't speak, it vibrates. And as you drift towards sleep carried by that quiet frequency, something shifts. The ache eases. The room feels gentler. The breath that once felt heavy becomes light again. You realize that, in her way, your cat has been teaching you what she has always known, that healing doesn't come from trying to rest. It comes from allowing rest to find you. Somewhere in that half-dreaming space, the last thought passes through your mind like a blessing. I am being protected, not just comforted. Because when your cat sleeps beside you, she's not simply sharing the bed. She's keeping watch over the unseen, the tender space between body and spirit, between breath and prayer. And as the night deepens, you can almost feel it, a presence, watching the door, soft as candlelight, steady as trust. In the morning, you'll wake to find her still there, eyes opening in the same breath as yours, a quiet guardian, a small soul who never stopped keeping time with yours. And that is where we begin to see the deeper truth that where our cats choose to sleep tells us as much about our hearts as it does about theirs. Every night, long after the house falls quiet, your cat performs a quiet ritual, one so ordinary that we rarely notice how holy it is. She pauses at the doorway, tail flicking like a compass needle, eyes reflecting the dim light. She scans the room not as a restless wanderer, but as a cartographer of peace, tracing invisible lines that only her spirit understands. Where she finally curls up on your chest at your feet by your pillow is never random. It is the map of her trust, drawn anew each night. To a cat, every resting place carries meaning. It's not just warmth or softness that calls to her, it's energy placement, safety. In the wild, cats are both hunters and the hunted. Their survival depends on sensing what feels open, what feels closed, what feels alive. They read the world through vibration and stillness, the way we read through sight. That instinct doesn't disappear inside our homes. It simply transforms. You may notice how your cat circles before lying down, how she tests the bed, how she sometimes shifts spots just when you think she's settled. It isn't indecision, it's devotion to her ancient code. Find the space where body light and spirit align. For some, that place is your chest, where the heart speaks in a rhythm older than language. For others, it's the hollow of your knees, a place both close and grounded between movement and rest. A woman once wrote about her old calico Daisy, who always slept by her right shoulder. No matter where the woman moved or what house they lived in, Daisy claimed that same position, the upper right side, always near her throat. It wasn't until years later, after a surgery that left a faint scar along her neck, that she understood the quiet miracle of that pattern. Daisy had been lying night after night at the place her body would one day need healing. When she remembered this, long after Daisy had crossed the Rainbow Bridge, she said, "I think she always knew. I just didn't know how to listen." Cats choose places not only by comfort, but by currents, the flow of warmth, the direction of doors, the shape of our stillness. In your room, there are unseen lines that form what could be called the sacred geography of sleep. Every cat knows these lines. They align themselves with them instinctively, like tuning forks struck by the Earth's quiet frequency. There are 3 lines every cat reads before resting, what we might call the 3 F lines: flight paths, field of view, and furnace points. Flight path is instinct, the subtle awareness of escape. Even in safety, your cat must know she can move freely. So she positions herself where her eyes can glimpse the doorway, where the corners aren't traps but choices. This isn't fear, it's wisdom, a relic from lives spent in tall grass and shadow. Field of view is perception, a vantage point that allows her to see without being seen. Notice how often she takes the corner of the bed or the spot against the wall rather than the center. For her, comfort includes oversight. In her own way, she's guarding the perimeter, both of the room and of your dreams. Furnace point is warmth, but not just physical. Cats are drawn to warmth that lives, not just warmth that burns. The steady heat of a body, the breath from our lungs, the hum of our hearts, these are living fires, and she knows them as home. A radiator warms the body, but you warm her trust. If you map your bedroom the way your cat does, you might begin to see patterns, the places she returns to when you're unwell, the corner she avoids when you've been restless, the sudden change in sleeping spot after a loss. Cats are more than pets. They are quiet mirrors of the house's energy and of yours. To create harmony in this sacred geography, imagine shaping your space not as decoration, but as invitation. You can build a triangle of calm, a high perch for safety, a warm zone for ease, and a closeness point near you. Or the cave and crown, one sheltered nook for retreat, one elevated shelf for sovereignty. These small adjustments whisper to her, "I see your nature. You belong here." And belonging is everything. When a cat chooses to sleep beside you, she's aligning herself with the heart of your world, declaring that your rhythm, your scent, your silence feel like home. It is her nightly act of devotion. But sometimes the map changes. Kittens seek heartbeat warmth. Adult cats crave distance and vantage. Seniors move closer again, choosing softness over strategy. Each phase mirrors our own seasons of sleep, when we too seek comfort, independence, or return. Watching them is like watching time itself breathe. In those quiet hours when the world narrows to breath and heartbeat, there is a lesson waiting in the way your cat rests. She teaches you that sacred places are not built, they are noticed. The safest corner of the world is not defined by walls, but by presence. Tonight, as you prepare for bed, try this small reflection before turning out the light. Look at where your cat settles. Don't move her, simply notice. That spot holds a message about warmth, about trust, about how your energy fills the space you live in. The geometry of your cat's rest is the geometry of faith, invisible, precise, perfectly felt. She measures your peace the way the ocean measures the shore, by touch, by rhythm, by return. And if you ever find her changing places or leaving one spot for another, don't see it as rejection. See it as the map evolving, like love. Trust shifts shape but never disappears. In this nightly cartography, both of you become explorers of safety. You with your breath, she with her quiet pause. Together you draw the lines that make a home a sanctuary, where sleep becomes something sacred again. And as you drift toward that half-lit horizon, notice how her body aligns with yours, how her presence fills the room with invisible order. Somewhere between her stillness and your slowing breath, you might sense it, the delicate balance of watching and being watched, of trust returned in equal measure. It's in that space, that tender distance between her eyes and yours, that another mystery begins to open, the one that lives at the threshold, between waking and dreaming, between protection and prayer. There are moments in the night when the air itself feels different, when time seems to loosen its hold, and the veil between what is seen and what is felt grows thin. If you've ever woken to find your cat watching you in that half-light eyes, reflecting something softer than shadow, you've touched that space, even if you didn't have words for it. Cats have always lived at this threshold. Between waking and dream, between one life and another, they keep quiet watch. And when they sleep beside you, they're not only resting, they're standing guard at the border of your soul. After her mother's passing, a woman named Elena began to notice her cat Miso changing her nightly habits. For years, Miso had curled at the foot of the bed, a small warm weight by Elena's ankles. But after the funeral, the cat began climbing higher, first to her hip, then her chest. Each night, when grief tightened Elena's breath, Miso would rise and settle near her heart, her paw pressing gently over the place that hurt most. Sometimes Elena would wake in the dark and whisper, "Are you still there?" The only answer was a low, steady purr, like a hum from somewhere beyond sound. Over time, Elena said the ache didn't leave, but it softened. "It was as if my mother sent her," she said, "to hold the part of me that couldn't pray yet." Cats, in their mystery, carry an ancient role. Protectors of thresholds. Across cultures, they've been seen as guardians of dreams and messengers between worlds. The Egyptians kept them in temples so that priests could sleep without fear. Sailors believed cats could see spirits that drifted at sea. Today, we might not name these things the same way, but we still feel their presence. When your cat chooses to lie close on a night heavy with memory, she's doing what her kind has always done, keeping the unseen at bay, turning her body into a quiet circle of light around your weary spirit. Dream researchers speak of how our minds process loss and change while we sleep, how the subconscious sorts through what the heart cannot. Yet there's a gentler language beyond science, one that says your cat's nearness is not only emotional, but symbolic. In dreams, the cat often stands for intuition, independence, and spiritual guardianship. So when she curls on your chest, she may be mirroring your heart's own longing to heal. If you've ever dreamt of your cat after she's passed, or felt her presence brush against the edge of sleep, that too belongs to this sacred dialogue, a whisper from the other side of silence. There's a family in Oregon who lost their old tomcat Jasper one summer. For months afterward, their younger cat began sleeping on the father's pillow each night, something she had never done before. Sometimes the father would wake half dreaming and swear he heard two sets of purrs, the living and the remembered. He said it felt like Jasper was lending his spirit to help the younger one learn how to guard them. It might sound fanciful, but maybe love never leaves. It just changes form, moving through fur and breath and memory, still doing its quiet work. Even in ordinary nights, when nothing momentous has happened, your cat's watchfulness has meaning. Their gaze in the dark, the way they lift their head, just before you stir, the stillness they hold when you pray or drift. All of it weaves a subtle protection. They read what we don't say, feeling the tremors of sadness before tears fall. Sometimes that's all we need, not to be fixed, but to be witnessed by something pure enough to stay. But protection can take many shapes. Sometimes your cat sleeps a little farther away, as if guarding from a distance. Sometimes she wakes you in the small hours, meowing at a sound only she can hear. In those moments, instead of annoyance, consider reverence. She may be moving energy, breaking the quiet tension of the unseen. Her restlessness is part of her service, keeping your space clear, your dreams light. There's a quiet lesson hidden in this. Protection at its truest is not about walls or defense, it's about presence. Your cat teaches this wordlessly each night. She doesn't fight the dark, she sits with it. She doesn't chase fear away, she makes peace beside it. Watching her, we might remember how to meet our own shadows with stillness, not struggle. Tonight, when you turn out the light, pause before sleep. Notice where your cat rests. Feel the small gravity she brings into the room, the calm that seems to settle wherever she breathes. If there's a grief you've carried too long, or a thought that keeps you awake, offer it into that stillness. Let her purr fold around it like hands in prayer. You don't have to understand what happens next. Just trust that in her way she's helping you carry what's too heavy to hold alone. And when morning comes, before the noise begins, whisper a quiet thank you to her and to whatever unseen grace placed her at your side. These bonds, after all, are not accidents. They are answers. So if this story touches something tender in you, take a moment to breathe with it. Reflect on what your own cat has been teaching you about love, that watches, about presence, that heals, about the sacredness of small moments. If you feel moved, share your story in the comments. Someone out there may need the comfort of your words. And if your heart feels called, consider offering a small super thanks or donation to help rescue and care for stray and abandoned cats, the quiet souls who wait, somewhere in the dark, for a safe place to sleep. Your kindness becomes part of their protection, part of the same gentle circle that has always connected us to them. Like, subscribe, and stay with us for more stories that remind you of the light that lives in fur, in breath, and in every quiet act of care. Because when a cat lies beside you, it isn't only sleep, it is sanctuary. It is grace in motion. And somewhere in that rhythm of shared rest, the night itself learns how to keep you safe.